A preemptive nuclear strike on America and NATO allies. Yes, Dmitry Medvedev, the deputy chairman of the Security Council of Russia, has made a threat of a preemptive nuclear strike given certain conditions. And I'm going to show you why those conditions are maybe nigh at hand, possibly already crossed in some tiny circumstance. And I'm going to show you this by Russia's own nuclear launch policy that Russia's established for nuclear war, which is written and on the Kremlin's website. So I'm not going to go to some third source, blah, blah, blah. We're going to straight to the horse's mouth. And I'm going to show you where we're either already in violation of their terms by which they can strike, or maybe on the very cusp of it. So it may be time to take Dmitry Medvedev seriously for a change. He's been rattling the saber a lot, making a lot of threats, and people are starting to ignore him like the boy that cried wolf. But you got to remember, Dmitry Medvedev is only one of two living people today who've actually had their finger on the red button of Russia. And given what's going on today, maybe we need to pay attention to him, given that United Kingdom has sent their cruise missiles to Ukraine, given that this thing with the Nord Stream pipeline, which looks like the United States destroyed, given that American vehicles were used in the invasion of Russia, given that we're on the verge of sending F-16s to Ukraine, given that we actually have people talking about arresting Putin, that he has been convicted in the international world court, given that there's people talking about invading Russia all the way to Moscow. That would definitely cross the line. Now, where is the real red line? Well, I'm going to show you black and white from Russia's website right out of the Kremlin. So there won't be any, I hear people all the time like, oh, this, that. They won't never do this. They won't never do that. Well, there are circumstances under which their policy says they have to do it. And we are really on the edge of that. And so why is it that, our elite are suddenly getting cell phones, satellite phones, and some of these strange things are happening? Maybe they know something we don't know. Maybe it's to do with this. Maybe it's to do with the sun. Maybe it's to do with all this hacking stuff that's happening, like Guam being hacked by the Chinese, which you might expect. What I tell you guys, prior to attack, you expect a major attack from a hack. Yeah. So I don't know, guys, things could happen and happen fast. We may be in a full-blown World War III with Russia or China or Iran within a year, maybe just a few months. Maybe it's right on the verge. There's rumors, like I mentioned in a previous video, of some of our elite heading to the bunkers this weekend. I say the rumors. I've showed you the sources for that. I don't know if that's true or not. I've not verified that. Maybe some of you guys have information you can share that verifies or refutes that. I'd be interested either way. Like if you see senators hobnobbing with kissing the babies in hometown this weekend, maybe we're okay. But then again, they got satellite phones, so they can be gotten out real fast if need be, probably. So that's the reason for them, I suppose. If we were in a cave, they wouldn't need a satellite phone. So yeah, there's a lot of information, disinformation, and propaganda all over the place. There's tons of chaff and a little wheat in here. So we have to look hard to find the kernels of wheat. And that's what I'm trying to do. It's the proposition is can help you survive, thrive, and stay out of the hive to help you keep your eyes wide open and head on the swivel so you can see what's coming. So we're going to go in some of these articles rather than sit here and pontificate on it endlessly. I'm going to show you what's actually cooking out there in the world and why we need to be concerned for a change. Like I said, Medvedev has made a lot of threats. Like she's starting to sound like the boy that cried wolf, but we're really edging up on this time. What he said this stuff, it's also backed up by Lavrov. Lavrov is the foreign minister of Russia, and he is a lot more conservative. I know he's been saying this too. Of course, Putin, they let Medvedev do the dirty work usually, but yeah, this time we need to think about it. What's going on? We're pushing and poking the bear up into the corner. Supposedly. Now I know people says Russia will never do anything. They can't do anything. They can't even tie their own shoes. I don't know. They just launched Satan II missiles, guys. So, and a lot of their stuff may be old, but they got some new stuff too. That Satan II missile, that's pretty darn new. Submarines they're putting out, pretty darn new. Let's see. Let's go and do a share here. Bing, bing, bing. Here we go, guys. So this is Medvedev talking here, and saying that we have seriously underestimated the prospects for nuclear war, that Russia would launch a preemptive strike. And here they're talking about if Ukraine gets nuclear weapons. That's not the only, and I don't think Ukraine's going to get nuclear weapons, but that's not, I don't think, but that's not the only criteria. And so what Medvedev says here is there are irreversible laws of war. He said, if it comes to nuclear weapons, there will have to be a preemptive strike. So, and he goes on to say, the Anglo-Saxons do not fully realize this and believe that it will not come to this. It will under certain conditions. Now he says conditions, and I'm going to show you the conditions because they're straight out of their policy. So we're going to remove all the doubt about this and look at what their policy actually is. I've heard people on various YouTube channels talk about, well, that can't happen because Russian policy won't allow it. I'm going to show you Russian policy. We ain't going to have no second guessing and all that stuff. We're going to go to the mouth of the bear. The first World War III threat, U.S. looking into Kremlin claims of American vehicles being used in attacking Russia. Well, there's photographs of them right there in Russia, the Humvees and MRAPs. So, this is just our way of trying to act like, oh, did that really happen? Interesting. Guys, if you're not prepping, what are you doing? Right now, we got a special. We can get $200 off of a 3-month supply of food to last you 25 years. 3 months, 25 years, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, over 2,000 calories a day. It'll make you a winner, guys. That may look expensive all at once, but you spend more than that probably in 2 or 3 weeks, at least in a month. This is 3-month supply of food. If you can't handle that, you might consider the 2-week supply. It's good bug out food, guys. It's good for throwing in these pouches in your pack, car, whatever. If you have to bug out, they're also good to supplement your long-term food stores. I hope you are going to the big box stores and watching my videos on how to eat free from the weeds and the trees. So no, I'm not just trying to sell stuff, guys. I'm trying to increase your options here. Now, all right, we're going to go straight to the website. Bing. Now, this is Kremlin.ru. Kremlin.ru. This is the official Russian website right straight out of the Kremlin. And we're going to look, this goes all into their nuclear launch. The items 12 and 19 in here are the most pertinent ones. Decree of the President of the Federation of Russia on the 2nd of June 2020. And so it's all about nuclear war. And, a lot of it just preliminary stuff, but the real meat of the potatoes, I'm going to go straight to it, is in items 12 and 13. So this is government websites. I can share it freely. The main military dangers, which depending on the changes in the military, political, strategic situation, can develop into military threats to the Russian Federation, threats of aggression, and for the neutralization of which nuclear weapons are carried in are 1 or 8, build up a potential adversary in the territories adjacent to Russian Federation and its allies and the adjacent sea areas of groupings of general purpose forces, which include nuclear weapons delivery vehicles. It don't say nuclear weapons here. It says nuclear weapons delivery vehicles. Guys, an F-16 is a potential nuclear weapon delivery vehicle. And so are some of the other systems we're sending over there, and include the United Kingdom's cruise missiles are sending. We'll show you that in a little bit. The development by states that consider Russian Federation a potential adversary of the potential development, as a potential adversary of anti-missile defense systems. We are sending anti-missile defense systems, are we not? Patriot missile, medium and short-range cruise and ballistic missiles. Check. All right, there's 2 checks there. High precision, non-nuclear, and hypersonic weapons. Non-nuclear, high precision. What's HIMARS? Pretty close, although it's kind of an artillery rocket. Strike, unmanned aerial vehicles, and directed energy weapons. There's not just saying nuclear weapons here, guys. We're talking nuclear weapons delivery vehicles, anti-missile defense systems, medium and short-range cruise. It doesn't say long-range. Medium and short-range cruise and ballistic missiles, high precision, non-nuclear and hypersonic weapons, strike unmanned aerial vehicles, and directed energy weapons. I see where we're potentially crossing thresholds in both of these areas, but it's going to get more interesting. Of course, I don't think this has got anything to do with in space anti-missile defense systems and strike systems. All that may be happening, but that's not anything to do with Ukraine, as far as I know. Ukraine is not a space power, as far as I know. The states have a nuclear, and I ought to know. The states have nuclear weapons. The states have nuclear weapons and or types of weapons of mass destruction that can be used against Russia and or its allies, as well as delivery vehicles for these types of weapons. Delivery vehicles, again, twice, 2 times here, it talked about as well as delivery vehicles, separate from nuke. So if you take a vehicle over that could carry a nuke to them, you might just have a nuke. Maybe you're hiding it. They don't know. So considering we've got a preemptive strike policy now ourselves, then see, we're getting on a hair trigger basis here, guys. This is what's boiling down to. Oh yeah, think about this. Now, Russia's just moved their nukes into Belarus. So this is why we got to start getting more serious here. Uncontrolled proliferation of nuclear weapons by the means of delivery technologies. Don't know that we're doing that, not apparently. Deployment of nuclear weapons and their means of delivery on territories of non-nuclear states. Excuse me, Russia just did this, and they did it right up to NATO. If we had this in our policy that we would nuke you, if you did that, then we would say, okay, we can nuke Russia now. You see what I'm saying? Deployment of nuclear weapons and means of delivery on the territories of non-nuclear states. That is what Russia has just openly violated on their own accord by sending nuclear weapons to Belarus. Now, I'm not taking sides here. I'm just showing you what's in a policy and what it means. I know I got more Russian bros than not in my subscriber list, and I'm not arguing with that. I'm just telling you what it is and what this means, and that what's good for the goose is not good for the gander according to this policy. It's a very one-sided policy. So we're going to go down to 19. There's a lot of other stuff in here. But 19 is the next most interesting one. Y'all can read this yourself, but you have to hit translate when you open it up, because this comes up in Russian at first. I've had problems with this reverting and popping out after a little bit, so I just want to go ahead and share it with you guys before I lose it on here. But Kremlin.ru/bank/45562. That's the link. So 19, the conditions determining the possibility of the use of nuclear weapons by the Russian Federation are. This is kind of they already said it above, so they're kind of restating it here and putting a little, and maybe refining it a little bit. Receipt of reliable information about the launch of ballistic missiles attacking the territories of the Russian Federation and or its allies. Now that's understood. You send the missiles at them, yeah, they're going to reply. The use by the enemy of nuclear weapons or other types of weapons of mass destruction in territories of the Russian Federation or its allies. Okay, I get that one. The impact of the enemy on critical state or military facilities of the Russian Federation, the failure of which will lead to disruption of retaliatory actions or nuclear forces. Now, you know what? That little incursion into the vicinity of Belgrade by the Russian so-called partisans or Ukrainian operatives, whatever you want to call it, whatever you think it was, came close to that, where the American vehicles are used, the Humvees, and it came close to that because Belgrade had that nuclear storage facility, and Russia, because of this, evacuated those weapons that were there. So this one is really close to a violation. Maybe you can say it occurred, maybe it was on the cusp of occurring. Russia managed to take care of what they had, so it did not actually, I don't think, disrupt their retaliatory capabilities, but having to move stuff around, maybe that is a disruption. I don't know. How would, where's the real thresholds here? So what I'm saying is we're close to the thresholds. Maybe we've crossed them in some cases already. But this last one, this one is the censure. This one is the one you really got to pay attention to. And I'm going to highlight it. Aggression against the Russian Federation with the use of conventional weapons when the very existence of the state is threatened. Okay. For one, a lot of people say that Russia deems having Ukraine and buffer states out there is essential to their survival, because it's open plains all the way into Moscow. If somebody was invading, they could get in fast, and that they feel like they've really got to have these buffer states out there and fill the gaps, like the Milwaukee Gap and the gaps where we can't come in onto them. But that's the real objective in taking Ukraine. So by that extent, you could say, well, you know, this whole thing violates this. But moreover, what they're really mostly talking about, the one point you can't argue is if the troops were advancing on Moscow and directly threatening the government in Moscow, that wholly, entirely counts for this. And I've said this on here many times in my channel, in live sessions and otherwise, that if you were invading Moscow, they would consider that a threat, nuclear or not. And that's exactly what this says. And so if you think you can just roll into Moscow and nothing's going to happen, you're taking a huge gamble. And the Ukrainians have said they want to do this. Yeah. So, you know, we say you can't do it, but there's also NATO officials who's talked to this. There are retired military people, even from the American side, who've talked about this, who've said that Russia must be crushed, that Putin has to be brought to justice. Those points, whether they have merit or not, are irrelevant to this point here. If you try it, they claim they're going to nuke us. And that one, I believe, because that, you know, I've told you before that they will care more about their own ability to maintain power than their own people. That's the way these heads of government typically are, especially when they are a autocrat, when they're the ruler, the dictator. They're typically sociopathic or psychopathic, so they don't even care about their own people. They care about their power, their life, more their power than anything. They lose their power, they lose their lives typically in a situation like that. All right, so I've shown you. This is the actual Russian policy. President of Russia. This is from the Kremlin website, so don't go around mealy-mouthing me for showing you what the bear says straight from the bear's mouth. Kremlin.ru/ACTSX/bank. Take it to the bank. /45, it's half of 90 degree, right? 45562. I think 62 is the year of the October missile crisis, right? So 45562. Write it down. Kremlin.ru/X, X of war, / take it to the bank, /45562. Again, Kremlin.ru/X, ACTS, /bank, /45562. Don't take my word for it. Go look at it yourself. And here it is. I've shown it to you. I'm tired of people telling me what well, I know it's this, I know it's that. No, here it is. There it is. So no more arguments. I hear arguments from both sides, you know, so let's spurge all that. There it is. That's what it is. So guys, United Kingdom confirms supply of Storm Shadow long-range missiles in Ukraine. What do they talk about in that back here? Short range, short and intermediate range. These are long-range missiles. Do you think that that might be a violation of what they're talking about in here? You tell me. What do you think? Let me find it again. You know, somewhere here we saw the cruise missiles, short or intermediate range. Here they're long range, guys. So are we? Yeah, here it is. The deployment by states that consider Russia Federation as a potential adversary of anti-missile defense systems, medium and short-range cruise, medium and short-range cruise and ballistic missiles, medium and short-range cruise. And what's going on there? Long-range missiles. And this comes from the BBC. This is the British admitting, BBC, this is the British admitting what they're sending. The British says, yeah, we're sending these over. Long-range missiles. United Kingdom confirms supply of Storm Shadow long-range missiles. Now, these are cruise missiles, by the way. So long-range cruise missile. Storm Shadow cruise missile has a range of 115 miles according to the manufacturer. Okay, there you go, guys. That's what we're talking about right there. And talking about dividing Russia, here's a NATO official unveils a plan to divide Russia into 41 new countries. If you look at this map, where's his thumb? United States flag right square in the middle of Siberia. Yeah, I don't think that's going to go over too well. Do you? What do you think? So, and I've seen other maps from Moscow divided into like 7 or 9 regions. So, guys, is that going to go over? I mean, can you just walk in and do that? He thinks so. Is he right? I know people who say we should take Russia, that we can take it, no problem. They'll never do anything. You want to bank on that? Is it worth the risk? Why are we doing this? Why are we there in the first place? Washington's plan to break up Russia. This is an op-ed here in Eurasia Review by Mr. Mike Whitley. Now, maybe that's why the United States is taking precautions. U.S. purchases $290 million of drug for use in radiological and nuclear emergencies. Did you get your pack? Who's this for? This is from The Hill. Now, if you want to know about The Hill, if you've ever, I don't know if they still these days in the age of everything being on the internet, but back up to 2010 when I used to run the halls of Congress, halls and through the basements and go in and visit a lot of these Congress critters, because I was a chairman of the policy committee of the National Space Society. Yeah, you'd find this magazine all over congressional offices, all over the cafeteria rooms, on the tables, everywhere. This was the one paper you saw in the Capitol building, and it was everywhere. So this is an insider for those that make policy. U.S. purchases $290 million in drugs for radiological and nuclear emergencies. Is that got anything to do? What's going on? What is something cooking, guys? What is happening? What do they know that are not telling us? World Health Organization issues a critical medicines list for radiological and nuclear emergencies. Oh, so the WHO suddenly is all concerned about this. And so is our FDA. This will come up. Radiological and nuclear emergency preparedness information from the FDA. Now, this is back a little over a month ago, April. But what are they getting ready for? What do they know? Were they knowing that we were going to be violating their policies, that we're going to keep pushing Russia? Every time they draw a line in the sand, we're going to keep pushing beyond it. Well, sooner or later, that line they're drawing in the sand may be too close to them. Yeah, they've thrown out red lines before. But sooner or later, we might just, maybe we're intending to fully cross all the red lines. Is it worth it? I know some of you will say, yeah, we need to go all the way into Moscow. But some of you will say, we need to get the heck out of there. And I got to ask, why are we over there, guys? And furthermore, they got out there working on a drug or pill to guard against nuclear accidents, supposedly to help get the toxic radioactive materials out of your body. And, that will only work to some extent, guys. So, like I say, the Chinese or malware is targeting Guam. So, guys, I may come back later tonight and go through this nuke map thing. And I don't know if I come back on live tonight or maybe another show we'll do this. I'll go through some other stuff. But I just wanted to share this with you. I'll stop the share now. Bing. A lot of people are they're taking this for granted now because the war's been going on for over a year. Nothing's happened yet, so nothing is going to happen. You got to remember, these wars typically slowly cook up. They start out with like one invasion or another invasion, and they just ratchet up. What happened with World War II? Well, on the European theater, first, Germany invades Poland. Okay, well, that's not everybody. Why is everybody scared? And then they started doing a lot more invasions later. At first, Japan invaded China. Well, everybody was picking on China at one time, but the next thing you know, they're bombing Pearl Harbor. So, and they were maybe prompted to do that by us embargoing them from fuel. So, we were the world's oil producer, and at the beginning of World War II, America was the world's petroleum producer, and America was the world's factory. We produced stuff like nobody. We were like China and OPEC put together. Yeah, we don't have any of that today. Our adversaries are the producers. China and other nations are producing oil, and they're not too happy with us right now. So if we get into a war, we're not in a good spot. We've passed out a lot of our ammunition, yet we're on the cusp because Israel is talking about hitting, and they're getting really serious about it now, talking about hitting Iran. Iran's got 3 of our oil tankers in captivity. So you can bet the United States is not going to be far behind, and we've been kind of taught in our Bucker Buster bomb already. So, and training directly with the Israelis. All the stuff going on in Ukraine, all the stuff going on with China. Guys, can't we even handle one of these? Can we handle one? We're looking at 3 potential conflicts. What does that mean for you here? You got to remember, Russia is talking about preemptive nuclear strike. And I've done videos in the past where I've laid out that a nuclear war can be fought and won. And it was backed up by and championed by the late, great Dr. Peter Vincent Price. I've had him on my channel here several times. I've had him in my town here twice, and I got him to go to Montgomery with me once too. So Dr. Price and I love talking with that man. He was brilliant. You know, to have dinner with Dr. Price was just it was an extraordinary thing. I've done that a few times because you know he came to my power grid defense conferences. I've chaired 2, and he was both of them the whole time. He was a good man, but he taught that we in America are weak right now in terms of our nuclear posture, and we're at such a place that we could be totally overwhelmed by an adversary. Now, a lot of you guys say, yeah, but we got a nuclear missile submarines at sea. Nobody will do it to us because we'll retaliate. If they take out our comm systems with EMPs, and I'm going to do, I've already done a white paper showing how our systems could be totally obliterated by just by cheap balloons, basically. And guys, you could take out our comm systems. You can take our hardened comm systems. We won't have the ability to get the EAMs out. Most of you should know about it. Emergency action messages are required to launch nuclear submarine ballistic missiles or any of our ballistic missiles. All our nukes require an EAM. At one time that weren't true, but they got scared after, you know, and that movie Crimson Tide kind of underscored that. About the time that movie came out, that the United States had already created a policy where they couldn't have a launch like that. Unfortunately, that means that our system without comms is dead in the water. So our true ability to retaliate is limited. You think they don't know that? Of course, they watched that movie Crimson Tide. It came out years ago. Everybody watched it if you were into military stuff like that. So, yeah, roll tide. I am from Alabama. So, guys, the situation is that, yeah, even my placard here is red and white, just like the colors of Alabama are Santa Claus. Ho, ho, ho. All right, guys, I'll follow the fun side. Seriously, guys, this is a serious situation we're in, and you need to be prepping. You need to be prepared. Now, I just did a video on surviving an EMP. It didn't get that many views, really. I've got a whole playlist on surviving a nuclear war. Got several videos that goes into great detail talking about radiation, what it is, how it works, how to shield yourself from it, what to do. And I got another couple of videos I did with Stacy and what to do in the first 24 hours and the second 24 hours. I've got several videos in that playlist. I've got bug out videos, and I got videos to teach you how to survive eating free from the weeds and trees, and how to filter and sanitize water. You need to go through and check out some of these videos. I got almost 62,000 subscribers on here, and some of those videos just barely got 1,000 subscribers. I got a bunch of videos with Dr. Peter Vincent Price. I got several videos about EMP on here and what to do with it. I've got a lot of even more videos where I just talk about what's going on, because that's what y'all want to hear the most. So you got to go to my videos where it's click on videos and find that little hourglass and put topics in and search. So my friends, and check out my playlist, guys. It's serious right now. Get ready. Be prepared. Are you prepared? How prepared are you? Nobody's 100%, but do the best you can. That's all I can say. So with that, my friends, I really hope that you are doing whatever you can to be ready for you and your family. but watch my most recent EMP survival video, and I will have more stuff coming out real soon. So with that, I'm gonna say thank you for watching. I got a screen blocking you. What's going on? All right. With that, again, thank you for watching, and Greg out.